thank you for joining us again today. We really appreciate our viewers checking in with Eagle Mountain City for these informational updates. Today we have with us Mr. Zach Hilton from our Streets and Storm Drains Department. Thank you for being with us, Zach.
Thanks for having me, Mayor.
So it's change of seasons. We're wrapping up summer road projects and preparing for fall and winter. So maybe you can help us with some of the things we ought to know about those transitions. What can we expect?
Yeah, we've completed all of our surface treatment projects for the summer, and those are all done. We do have the project still being completed on Eagle Mountain Boulevard for the widening project, and we do have just a few smaller road projects to complete before we get into winter. And then we transition into the fall where we do our Bag the Leaf program, and then we transition into winter maintenance.
Yeah, we'll have snow removal before we know it. So yeah, you mentioned Bag the Leaf. So that's an appreciated city program that was probably due to kick in October. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Every year we do the Bag the Leaf program. This year it will start October 18th and it will go until the first week of December. And the city supplies garbage bags.
So they can pick them up here at City Hall?
Yes, they can pick them both up at City Hall or down at our community development building, whichever one's more convenient for them. And they can use those bags to bag all their leaves and leave them curbside, and the city picks them up and hauls them away. We do ask that they keep the bags under 50 pounds, and it's intended for leaves only, no animal waste or branches or dirt and other things like that.
Okay, and of course, really one of the end goals here is to keep those storm drains clear. So anything our residents can do to help keep those clear to reduce flooding and clogging and things like that is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, that's correct. We do a lot of our own curb and gutter leaf removal at the same time, a lot of street sweeping. We actually purchased a actual leaf mulcher to help us with that this year as well. But yes, the end goal is to try and keep those leaves out of our storm drain system, which can be very labor intensive and expensive to remove and can be a culprit for flooding.
And so speaking of rain, certainly that changes road conditions and sometimes visibility. Those lane stripings can be difficult to see during the rain. Can you explain why that is?
Yes, absolutely. We do our lane striping, restriping every year in the summer months, just to get the best out of the paint, and do it right before school starts so that we have the freshest paint for all of our school crosswalks. Part of the painting process, they add glass beads, which is what provides the reflectivity for the traffic, which, unfortunately sometimes when you have a heavy rain and you have that water sheen, the reflection comes off of the water as opposed to the glass beads, which is sometimes why even with fresh paint you may have difficulty seeing the actual traffic paint.
Right, so it's another reason to be careful as we're out there on the roads.
Correct.
Hey, tell you what, Zach, could you address maybe a little bit of the prioritization of snow removal, how that works?
Yes, absolutely. When snow falls and the conditions start getting slick, our first priority are arterial roads, namely being Pony Express Parkway, Ranches Parkway, and Eagle Mountain Boulevard. And those are always first priority because they're the highest volume and the highest speeds. And then our second priority, if it's on a school day, is to get any of the school zones to make them safe for any of the school times. And then we start falling to collector roads and hills and curves, places that become more difficult to navigate. And then we finish up with our residential streets.
Well, we definitely appreciate our snow removal and road maintenance crews. Oftentimes they're out there at the most inconvenient of hours.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Well, thank you to our viewers for joining us. And if there are questions that you have, any subjects you'd like us to address, send us a message, an email, and we'll work to get that on a video. So thanks for being with us, Zach, and thank you for joining us.